Hello, everybody. It's great to have you here to be part of the launching of this vision of 100 by 50. 100% clean and renewable energy by the year 2050. This is the vision we have to fight for. And we have to fight for it because we have this beautiful blue-green planet that is under assault. In fact, we see that the environment is crying out and sending us lots of messages. Out in my home state of Oregon, the forest fires are hotter and the forest season is longer. We have lost water for irrigation because the Cascades don't have the same snowpack that they had previously. We have pine beetles that are thriving while trees are dying. And we have oysters that can't reproduce because the oceans become too acidic for the baby oysters to pull the molecules out of the seawater. So think about all these effects just in my state. And any other state you go to, you're going to see impacts. Any part of the world you go, you're going to see impacts. If you were in Minnesota, you'd hear about the ticks thriving and the moose dying. If you were in Maine, surprise you, whatever microphone that is, it's just collapsed. If you were in Maine, you'd hear about the lobsters that are migrating north to Canada. And we'd like to keep them in America. We'd like to keep them in Maine. And these conditions, this is a situation where our rural resources are under assault. So this is not a blue issue or a red issue. When we're talking to our citizens of America who are in rural areas, they understand that there's an impact on the forest, there's an impact on the farming, there's an impact on the fishing. So we have to come together, urban and rural, to take on this massive assault on our planet.
Thank you.
If there was an asteroid hurtling towards our planet, wouldn't we all work together, all Americans work together to save our planet? And isn't that the type of challenge that we face right now? And we need all Americans to be engaged.
Yes, sir.
So this bill, 100 by 50, lays out this vision and lays out a detailed roadmap. And we've been working with all kinds of groups to put this roadmap together to paint a vision of how we need to take and electrify our energy economy and put as many things on the grid as possible. And then we have to make sure the electrons on the grid are blue-green electrons. That is, that they are clean and renewable energy that's being funneled into our energy system. And that means that we have to take advantage of blessings that we've been given by the technological advance in solar and wind. I mean, isn't it amazing that today solar and wind are competing price-wise, before you count the externalities, with fossil fuels? This is a blessing. And the cost has come down so dramatically over the last 10 years that even those who maybe haven't opened their eyes to what's happening in our environment can open their eyes to what's happening in our economy and realize the smart investment is in renewable energy from every perspective. Scientists have spoken, but we can see the facts on the ground. We don't need detailed models about the future to tell us what is happening. You've heard about the sunny day floods in Florida and salt water infiltrating our freshwater supplies. You've heard about the greater power and frequency of storms. We've heard these stories, and we're going to hear more to come. We've heard about the ice disappearing in the Arctic. We've heard about the permafrost melting. We've heard about the glaciers diminishing across the planet. So now is the time that we have to just quit looking at these facts, and we have to act, and that is what this is all about. Now, President Kennedy set out a vision of landing an American on the moon. And many people said, we don't have all the facts, we don't have all the technology. Well, today we're laying out as important or more important vision, that of 100% clean and renewable energy to stop the contribution to global warming. We have to seize that vision and say we have so many tools to work with right now, and we will have more in the years to come. There is no excuse for failure. This is the biggest test facing human civilization, and we have to respond and win this battle together. I'm so delighted to be here with my colleague Bernie Sanders and my colleague Ed Markey and representatives of a whole group of organizations that are deeply engaged in this mission. And so, well, we're going to have to recruit those colleagues across the aisle. But we can't wait for everyone to act at the same time. We have to, if you will, lay out the vision and then all work together to add to the number of folks who are ready to join us. So it's not that long ago that Bernie and I were standing up here with many of our environmental groups laying out the vision of keep it in the ground. And today we're standing together with Ed Markey and these groups to continue this conversation and lay out this roadmap. An extraordinary leader in this effort, Bernie Sanders.
Well, let me begin by thanking Senator Merkley for his incredibly hard work on this legislation. Let me thank Senator Ed Markey, who has been an environmental champion for decades. And let me thank all of you for standing up and demanding that the planet that we leave our children and grandchildren is a healthy and habitable planet. And thank you all also for participating in the Climate March, one of the important events of our era. Now, as you all know, Donald Trump is wrong about a lot of things, but there is no area where he is more wrong than on the issue of climate change. No, Mr. President, climate change is not a hoax. Climate change is real. Climate change is caused by human activity. Climate change, as Senator Merkley has already pointed out, is already causing devastating problems in this country and all over the world. Mr. President, your job is to listen to the scientific community, which is virtually unanimous in telling us that we have got to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. Mr. President, start listening to the people and the scientists, not the greed of the fossil fuel industry. Mr. President, listen to the economists who tell us that we can create millions of jobs when we move to energy efficiency and wind, solar, geothermal, and other sustainable energies. Mr. President, listen to the physicians and the scientists of this country who tell us that when we have a clean, non-polluting environment, we can save billions of dollars and thousands of lives by preventing people from getting sick by all of the pollution that is in the air right now. That's right, that's exactly right. But it's not just Flint, it is all over this country. So, brothers and sisters, the good news is that we are, despite President Trump, we are winning this struggle. In Vermont and all over this country, what we are seeing is communities moving toward energy efficiency and, by the way, saving consumers money. We are seeing the price of solar plummeting, not only in America, but all over the world. And there are places now where solar is the cheapest form of energy that is in existence. You know, as Senator Merkley pointed out, our job is to think big, not small. Senator Merkley talked about President Kennedy's vision. Let me talk about another vision. In 1941, right here in the Capitol, the day after Pearl Harbor, President Roosevelt went before the Congress. And at that moment, the United States would soon be engaged in a war in Europe and a war in the East against Japan, fighting two major armies. The truth is that when the American people came together, that war was won in a few years. We can win the war against climate change. We can lead the world in transforming our energy system. We can put millions of people to work doing that. We can create a planet that will be healthy and habitable for our children. There is no issue more important for that, and I thank you all for being here. Thank my good friend Bill McKibben for being here. Thank all of the organizations who have stood up on this effort, and thank Senator Merkley again for his excellent work.